We've seen them on the Discovery Channel and National Geographic, but how many of us have seen wild animals up close? How many of us have sat in an open-air 4x4 Jeep and driven upon wild lions or elephants? Our guess is not many of us. So, we're about to tell you, in case you're looking to spice up your life, about the best places to see wildlife up close. Number 14. South Africa. If you want to get up close and personal with the African bush elephant, you should head to Matea Safari Lodge, and you can quickly meet some of these massive creatures. In addition to Africa's red elephant, you are able to see a bunch of other animals, including lions, leopards, rhinos, buffaloes, wild dogs, hyenas, giraffes, and cheetahs. And the area surrounding the lodge boasts over 350 different species of birds. You can get to cruise around on the typical 4x4 safari vehicle or walk around and see what you can get yourself into. However, you are accompanied by a guide, so you can't really get into much. This is the ultimate safari to get up close and personal with some of the most massive creatures that Africa has to offer. Number 13. Kenya and Tanzania. If you're interested in seeing a genuinely massive wildebeest migration, Kenya and Tanzania hold what you're looking for. Every single year, millions of wildebeest traverse the lands between the Masai Mara National Reserve in Kenya and Serengeti National Park in Kenya, and if you go at the right time, you could witness something quite spectacular. If you go between July and October, you better go to Governor's Camp to be able to see the animal run in and out of the Mara. If you find yourself there between December and April, go to the southern Serengeti to witness the incredible calving season. There's even the option to go hot air ballooning over the land and see things from an entirely new, totally crazy perspective. Number 12. Maine. We're headed to Maine specifically for the Atlantic puffin species that lives there. In 1901, in Maine, the Atlantic puffin was actually declared extinct locally. But thanks to Dr. Stephen W. Kress and significant donations from donors like Barbara's, the maker of puffin cereal, the species has made quite the comeback and seen a great resurgence. Dr. Kress started something called Project Puffin, and it began as an effort to figure out how to restore puffins to the Gulf of Maine. But today, it more so restores all forms of seabirds and helps all sorts of species and runs a bunch of public education programs. Number 11. Botswana in Tanzania. Would you love to get up close to a whole giant pride of lions for hours? Lions that could eat you like no problem? If you answered yes, you should head to Africa and avoid national parks. Head to remote lodges in Botswana and Tanzania, ones that let you drive at night and go off-roading, and you're bound to see just this. You could try Wilderness Safari's Vambura Plains in Botswana, where you can look at all kinds of animals, from the lions you're looking for to wild dogs. In Tanzania, there's AndBeyond Klein's Camp, where you can check out the great migration of wildebeest or the tree-climbing lions in the area. There are two great places to get real close, almost dangerously so, with some big cats and a plethora of other African animals. Number 10. Galapagos Islands. These incredible tropical islands sit in the Pacific Ocean just a little over 500 miles west of Ecuador and are, for the most part, a living museum of evolution. Here you can see the Galapagos giant tortoise up close and personal in its natural habitat or at various sanctuaries and reserves. Reserva El Chato, a tortoise reserve where the giant tortoises live with their own kind and get to lead comfortable lives, is probably the best bet for getting some one-on-one time with these big beauties. Most cruise ships make it a point to have Reserva El Chato on their itinerary. You'll also find many other animals in the Galapagos, including various iguanas, tropical birds and fish, crabs, and all sorts of other stuff. Number 9. South Africa. Who's interested in getting in the faces of some white and black rhinos out in the wild? Okay, well, maybe not in their faces, but pretty close to them. Well, you've got a couple of choices of reserves that you can visit and find them on. AndBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve in South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal province that spans 100 square miles, or Sabi Sand Game Reserve, which is west of Kruger National Park. At these places, you'll find the black hook-lipped rhino or the white square-lipped rhino. This is one of the few areas on the face of the earth where the population of rhinos hasn't been entirely devastated and decimated by poachers. You can get plenty of great photos, and you'll make a ton of memories on safaris throughout these reserves, and you'll get to be within feet of some of the coolest animals in the world. Number 8. Manitoba, Canada. Who loves polar bears? Who would love to see some polar bears in their natural habitats, but like in real life? Okay, since we're all on the same page here, we're going to tell you about the West Hudson Bay Coast in Canada, where around 1,000 plump, happy, thriving polar bears live, and there are 3 fly-in lodges run by outfitter Churchill Wild used for tracking these giant predators on foot. Yes, on foot. Like, if you have to try and get away from the polar bear, you're just not going to be able to. Diamond Lake Eco Lodge, Seal River Heritage Lodge, and Nanook Polar Bear Lodge are the places you're looking for if you're trying to participate in one of those death lotteries sometime in your future. Number 7. Botswana and Sri Lanka. If you want to find the elusive, hard-to-spot African leopard, yes, pun intended, then you better go to the Okavango Delta, where you're more likely than not to get a sighting. Fumbura Plains Camp and Wilderness Safaris Abu Camp both offer excellent chances for sightings and other activities, including things like elephant rides through the Delta and canoe safaris. On the island of Sri Lanka, you can get deep into Yala National Park and look for the Sri Lankan leopard, which is the smaller cousin of the African leopard, but you still might find either one. Yala National Park's leopard density is one of the highest and most thriving in the world, so you're gonna see some leopards, one way or another. Number 6. South Africa, Part 2. So yes, the Masai Mara National Reserve in Kenya is pretty much heaven for big cat watching, but if you really want to get some great shots of the cheetah, you're gonna want to head on down to South Africa. While you're there, be sure to check out the AndBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve, where you'll be able to get some incredible pictures and encounters built up with the fantastic animal, as the reserve sits right on some magnificent cheetah real estate. You can get pictures of cheetahs in trees, cheetahs running at top speed, cheetahs doing all sorts of cheetah things. You will also probably see giraffes, zebra, warthogs, buffalo, elephants, and all kinds of other animals while you're there. South Africa looks and sounds excellent, and with all of the different creatures you can see, it's basically an animal lover's paradise. Number 5. Mexico. Of course, we know that there are about 1 million different animals that we could get into with Mexico, but we're only going to talk about the gray whale. So if you go to Magdalena Bay, or more specifically, Puerto Adolfo López Mateos in Mexico, you'll be able to see the magnificent animal up close. The gray whales actually choose to make their way up towards small skiffs and just hang out at close range and watch the people taking pictures of them. This experience is a seasonal thing, so be sure to plan accordingly. Book tickets between mid-January and the end of March to enjoy this magnificent thing, and you can go with a group or book a private journey to have a chance to see and connect with the amazing animals in a more personal way. Number 4. Even more Tanzania. We're back in Tanzania again, but this time it's for an entirely different reason, a different animal, the hippo. The name comes from the ancient Greek word which means river horse, and hippos are a pretty common sighting on a safari. If you're lucky enough though, you'll come across a giant herd, or crash, which is what it's called in safari language. You're sure to be entertained for hours. As long as you keep at a distance and just watch, you should be able to see them interacting and doing all sorts of things like snuggling, bobbing, fighting, socializing, and much more. It would be so fun to see, and maybe someday we will see it. In Tanzania, we could see lions and wildebeests and hippos. It sounds like Tanzania is kind of where it's at. Number 3. India. Now we move on over to India to get a close-up peek at a slightly fearsome creature, the Bengal tiger. You can definitely go somewhere like Ranthambore National Park and get some great pictures of some semi-habituated tigers, but that's making it pretty easy. If you feel like finding some more elusive, really wild tigers in their natural settings, then you should check out Madhya Pradesh. You can stay at Banjar Tola, an incredible lodge with so much to do, including trails and walking safaris, driving safaris, visits to a local village, and obviously relaxing. Or you can get right out there and snap some excellent pictures of the beautiful Bengal tiger, peacocks, Indian rollers, langurs, and so much more. Number 2. Rwanda. Who wouldn't want to get real close to, basically face-to-face with, a mountain gorilla? Have you seen this adorable thing? We mean, at least the babies are really cute. The adults are kind of scary and look like they'd rip you apart. Okay, they're a little more than scary, we'll admit it. Anyway, in Rwanda, you can observe these creatures that share 97% of our DNA makeup. And who knows what kinds of fun and interaction like this would be. You do need to get a national park permit though before going, and they're sold out months in advance a lot of the time. So grab those way ahead of time. This really would be like the ultimate, the peak wildlife encounter with an animal so similar to us in its natural habitat. It almost sounds magical, doesn't it? Number 1. Massachusetts. You really wouldn't think of finding any outstanding, out there wildlife up close in good old Massachusetts, would you? Well, all you have to do is look to the ocean and you can figure out what we're talking about. Great white sharks. Now that the gray seal population has made a big-time rebound, we can actually get up close with the ocean's most feared animal right off of our own coast. With its prey returning and thriving, the great white has steadily made a return to its former home. You can go through the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy if you want to further understand the truly misunderstood creature and shadow shark researchers while they identify and tag the sharks. Sounds intense, but we think we'd be in. And it's closer than basically any of the other ones if you live in America, so yay danger. We made it. How many of these animals would you be willing to get real up close and personal with? If this video got you excited about animals, give it a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and share. Also, keep an eye out for new videos every day.